What's up, everyone? We're back with the 7th episode of the 5D Warrior podcast. We're about to go into some crazy esoteric and consciousness and spirituality and all things in this episode. Let's get right into it. So we want to talk about we want to start off with a little bit of lucid dreaming and like meditation and consciousness, astral projection, all that good shit.
So lucid dreaming, loose subject matter, right? So when you were lucid dreaming, you guys both know what lucid dreaming is, right? Like, obviously. So lucid dreaming is when you become aware that you are dreaming. And it's something that you can practice. And there's different ways that you can do reality checks throughout the day to actually induce lucid dreams at night, right? There's different reality checks you could do. The one that I typically do is poke my hand throughout the day and I'll think or say out loud, like, is this real? Is this reality right now? And it seems kind of wacky out there.
Reality.
Yeah.
It definitely helps though.
No, it definitely does help.
Yeah.
It's like your body gets accustomed to that and you ingrain that, is this reality? Is this a dream? Like into your subconscious to the point when like, not even necessarily like this movement, this helps trigger it, but like even like seeing your hands in a dream or like moving your fingers in a dream or just like literally just seeing your hands will like almost like spark that like
fingers is usually a deal breaker for me, like when I'm doing something and I'm like, oh no, this is some bullshit, it's got to be a dream.
Or even like I told that story in the one podcast about me being Iron Man, but like I realized I was in a dream because I was like, you're like fumbling the back. You're either doing something like really, really good. You're like, how am I doing this? Or like you're doing something that's so easy to you in the regular life, but then it's like extremely hard and you're like fumbling the bag for like no reason. And then you're like, oh fuck, this is a dream.
You could get into a fight and you're throwing punches and they're not doing anything. Like,
that's the worst. You're running, it's all slow.
Yeah,
you're trying to type something and you can't for the life of you, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, bro. I'm always my dreams low-key be mad violent, and I'm always like fighting people and shit. And sometimes I'm like I can barely throw a punch, but then other times I'm like Neo in the Matrix, bro, and I'm like I'm doing kung fu and shit. It's just like you guys, like everyone has that same like experience,
because everything is possible in the dream world. Like, think about it like that. Like I'd be flying in my dreams because I'll do my reality checks and I've been getting better and I've been coming aware in my dreams more. So like I'll do this reality check in my dream and my fingers will go right through my hand and immediately just it's reality, but it's not physical reality. It's just the dream world. You can fly, you can shoot energy out of your hands, you can jump, you can shoot lasers out of your eyes, whatever you can fathom, you can make it happen right in front of you. Oh, you want a lightsaber? Like,
and that's tapping into the fourth density consciousness of like infinity, right? So like when you're in that dream world, like almost like you're in the astral plane of the fourth density and the fifth density, you're in that elevated state of consciousness. Like you can have literally anything you want. And another way to access this is there's a show on Netflix called Behind Her Eyes, right? And the basis of the show is like the one girl meets another girl, but the one girl she meets is like really good at like astral projecting and like lucid dreaming, right? And the one girl like was going through like struggles in her life and she wanted to like be in control of her life, and her friend was like, oh, you should start like lucid dreaming because like you could bring your experiences in your dream to reality, right? And like use like almost like going through your day through the lucid dream and then bring it in reality. But the way she told her friend to start being conscious of it is when you're laying down in bed and you're just like falling asleep, just count your fingers, right? And it's almost like the same thing Corey said, going like this, like when you're in the dream and you start being conscious of your hands and you start going like this, you're like your subconscious will automatically make you like start tapping your hands and count your fingers, and then it's like I'm in a dream, and then you have full awareness in the dream.
Just thinking about
like in every movie that does that, like the first thing somebody feels when they suddenly become conscious, they start moving their fingers, and like any kind of movie you see that.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you want to start lucid dreaming at night, the thing is you have to fall asleep thinking about lucid dreaming a lot of times. And I find that's when I have my most vivid kind of lucid dreams. And also dream recall is big, like practicing, waking up and thinking, instead of just looking at your phone as soon as you wake up, think like, oh, what happened in my dream last night, and go through the whole thing, run through it. A dream journal helps. And I've been starting to do that. But
Dream journals are good
yeah.
because they say like any dream that you remember isn't a dream, it's a lesson or a story rather. So like I had a dream last night. It was kind of crazy, kind of like a good idea for a movie. I ain't gonna go into it because it was like mad wild, but like I remembered the whole thing. That's like J.K. Rowling, billionaire author, movie like made Harry Potter, right? She literally thought of the idea of Harry Potter through a dream.
Yes.
She kept having the same dream over and over again to the point where now she's $1 billion. Like the shit that happens in our dream, like we can't even imagine in this reality. That's it's to the point where it's $1 billion. She had a dream it's worth $1 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's how powerful dreams are.
And like Sean, you're a Beatles fan, and I know John, you are too. The Beatles, Paul McCartney specifically, wrote a lot of his songs through lucid dreaming, where he would actually compose the music in his thoughts and then wake up and write it all down, because you're accessing a higher dimension of thinking when you're in that dream state, similar to like meditation or taking like psychedelic drugs like mushrooms.
Yeah, I want to get into that too, because like as far as like plant medicine, like ayahuasca ceremonies, people like you could be in a whole group, right? Like 10, 15, maybe even 20 people, and they all take the plant medicine and they all experience out of body experiences, but they all go to the same place and they all have the same experience, which shows that like we're connected in some way that's bigger than ourselves. Because like you can't just say it's a coincidence when people keep going, having retreats together, and they all come back from it and they all say they experienced the same thing, or they all felt connected within the dream, or not the dream, but like the different awareness of consciousness. Like they all felt the same things, and like they come back and record that. Like that's not a coincidence. That just shows us that like we are all connected. We're all part of the oneness consciousness. And like when you take these different plant medicines, like you are able to tap into that, almost like it's the same thing as a dream pretty much. But when you have like, even if we all meditated together and all tried to lucid dream together, all astral project together, like we would all be in the same vicinity outward of ourselves.
Yeah, because we're all accessing that ether in the same part of the world, I guess. Like I know you're going into the ayahuasca ceremony. I know what you're talking about in I don't know where it was in the rainforest. But the Amazon rainforest, they were having group visions where they would take the ayahuasca and they would see the same things, they would feel the same things. And it just goes to show, like you said, like there's just connectivity between everything.
One way or another.
Somewhere.
However you can explain it, no one really knows until you have those experiences.
Yeah. And that's another thing that brings us into the meditation. You see the monks at the monasteries, and the yogis, they practice meditation in groups, because in groups, when you practice meditation, it uplifts everybody's vibe. Not that they get the same visions, but it allows them to go into deeper states of meditation when you have so many high vibrational other beings around you, also accessing that higher dimensional thinking.
Yeah, if you think about it, like we've gone over this before, everything's energy, frequency, vibration. Like you give off an energy field rather. So like if we're all sitting in close quarters, putting our minds to the same thing, I'm feeding off of your energy, Sean's feeding off of my energy, like vice versa. Like we're all connected. Like I'm projecting my vibrational field outward to you guys, you're projecting yours onto mine. Like we're all connected, therefore we're going to bring our vibrations up together, like as being one. It's crazy.
And like that, I think that has to do with like creativity too. And I read a good book, Quantum Creativity. I'm not 100% sure who it was by, but it talks about how creativity is like drawn from the quantum realm. Like we've talked about like fractal geometry, how the neurons in your brain fire, and if you zoom into the neurons in your brain, you see the fractal geometry in your brain, and you zoom out of the universe and the cosmos and you see the fractal geometry of the cosmos. Go ahead.
Yeah, but speaking of the fractal geometry, I literally saw a TikTok earlier today, and it was just like the dance between Mars and Earth rotating around the sun, right? And not even necessarily, this video was just Earth and Mars, right? The dance between the two, because they're always following each other, but they're going like this, you know, around the sun, but it makes fractal geometry, like it literally makes sacred geometry. And then you express that outward to all the planets, and they're all going around the sun in a sacred geometric pattern or a fractal pattern. You know, it's like the universe is geometry, the universe is mathematics. Like
we didn't create mathematics, we discovered them. They're the language of the universe. The same way we talk about the flower of life, the Vesica Pisces, the Riyantra, all those different, oh, there it is. You got the flower of life right there in gold, baby. In gold.
This is crazy amount of energy right here.
Yeah, that's powerful.
This by itself, like, definitely, like, even if you put this on anyone, bro, you automatically are raising your vibration. This is literally the face of the infinite creator, the divine, around my neck. Like, and I also got Yeshua on the cross, but right there, that's even more. This is love, and this is the infinite love. This is love in the third dimension. This is infinite love right here.
The faceless, the formless, right?
But yo, back on the, I wanted to get into this on the quantum at creativity type shit.
Yeah. Let's get back into that.
And the meditation, like I have a story about that. So in we all know the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, right?
Yeah.
In the book, Napoleon Hill was basically an apprentice of Andrew Carnegie or Dale Carnegie. I don't even remember. Andrew Carnegie, I believe. But anyway, so it's all about money consciousness, the power of the ether, tapping into the ether, the quantum realm, creativity, all that jazz. But in the book, Napoleon Hill says he created a team of like high vibe individuals, right? And like his were people, I don't know necessarily, but like people like back in the day, Abe Lincoln, say, JFK, all powerful political figures, like spiritual leaders, all that shit. But he would go down and go to sleep every night and just envision himself in a room with all of these people, right? And he eventually got to a state where he was lucid dreaming and he was conscious being in the room with these people, right? And like he would do this every night. And it was almost like they would get ideas from him, he would get ideas from them. And it was like that power of that quantum creativity, like he was quantum jumping into a reality where he knew all these high vibe guys. And he was pulling ideas from them, for vice versa. But he was able to bring this awareness, these creative ideas and shit, and bring them back into the real world and manifest his destiny in this reality, right? And become famous and write one of the best books on money consciousness and consciousness in general, Think and Grow Rich. It's over 100 years old and it's still one of the top leading business books in the world. It's crazy.